Hey guys, it's Darwin here with my weekly Q&A to answer more of your questions. If you want to leave a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many as I possibly can. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into this week's first question. What essentials should be higher quality and where does it not matter that much? So, good question, and I'm assuming that you're talking about backpacking items and backpacking gear. I think where it really matters on high quality is going to be in your big three. So your pack, your tent, and your sleep system. Number one, pack-wise, you want to make sure you have a super tough pack that's going to last the duration of the hike that you're going to be doing. Also, make sure it's an optimal pack, that it has enough room, enough storage, and enough features for what you're needing. Number two, your tent or hammock or whatever shelter you decide to go with needs to be amazing. It's gonna be your home for 4 to 6 months, so make sure that it's really good quality and it's gonna last. It's gonna go through rain, it's gonna go through snow, it's gonna go through sleet. It's gonna be able to handle the elements every single day out on the trail, keep you comfortable, keep you dry, and be your home. Be comfortable in the shelter that you have, so definitely be looking at a high quality shelter. And the third one, and probably the most important, would be your sleep system. If you are hiking every single day, you're wearing yourself out, so make sure you're getting good sleep at night. Get a good sleeping pad. Get a pillow if that's what you want. Get a good sleeping bag or a quilt. Make sure you are comfortable when you're sleeping. You want a great night's sleep so you can get up and enjoy your hike during the day and not be dragging ass and be super tired. Now obviously footwear and clothes are also very essential items, but I don't think they're as important as those big three items, so really focus on the big three. Invest a lot, not only in quality gear, but also in lightweight, because those are the big three that make up the weight of your pack. So get those down in weight, get those three quality items, and you should have a pretty good gear setup.
Hey Darwin, question about when you start your days on your really long through hikes. As the sun rises earlier and earlier, do you find yourself getting up early and earlier with the sun, or do you try to stick to this, getting up the same time and starting your hikes at that time and going through the day, or do you hike longer with the longer days, or do you hike shorter with the shorter days? Just kind of curious how that all works out.
So, regardless of when the sun comes up and when it goes down, I am an early hiker regardless. I love getting up super early and putting in my miles before noon. A lot of times out on the AT, I was getting up at 4 or 5 a.m. just so I could hit the trail, being able to break trail for the first time, which sometimes includes eating a bunch of cobwebs and breaking those off the trail. But regardless, I love to get up early and hike and get my maximum amount of miles out before noon. And then I usually hike to about 4 or 5 during the day. I really like to get into camp early so I can break down my gear, set up my tent, eat, and just kind of relax for the rest of the night. Because rest and sleep out on the trail are super important to me. The only way I can get in those big miles early in the morning is if I get optimal rest and sleep. So regardless of when the sun comes up and when it goes down, I just get up early and I hike. And like I said, I usually hike to about 4 or 5. Sometimes if I'm really trying to hammer out a huge day, I'll hike to about 6 or 7. It just depends on the trail, it depends on the day, and it depends on how I'm feeling on the trail. What are your experiences with the trail magic? I heard various opinions about it. Some say it kills the idea of hiking, but some people love it. And what do you think about it? So, trail magic is amazing. Any hiker that doesn't like trail magic is not a hiker. Sometimes the big hiker feeds, like whenever someone sets up a camp and they're feeding a lot of people, I guess I could see where that kind of takes away from the trail a little bit. But trail magic is really special to me and special to a lot of thru hikers. When you're out there every day and you're going through the motions, you're hiking, you're hot, you're wet, you're doing all of these things, it's really beating you down, not only physically, but also mentally. Whenever you come upon like a cooler and it has like a couple Coca-Colas in it, or maybe some oatmeal cream pies, there is no better morale booster than trail magic. It really just lifts your spirits, it makes you feel good, and it kind of gets you out of that funk that you might be in on the trail that day. So I have personally had some really amazing experiences with trail magic. Not only the small like feeds like beer or Coke or cookies or something like that, but also trail magic as in getting a ride into town, someone taking me in for the night and giving me a shower, being at a grocery store and someone just handing me a $20 bill and telling me that they really think it's amazing for what I'm doing and buy dinner on them. Like, that is so cool that people care. And it's things like that in this world that, you know, we constantly hear all these bad news reports of shootings and bombings and war and stuff like that. It's little things like trail magic that kind of give you faith in humanity again and let you know that there are a lot of really great, good, amazing people out there. So as far as I'm concerned, trail magic is amazing on all different types of levels.
Hey Darwin, I'm Chris.
And I'm Lena.
And we are new to your channel. Really like the videos. Keep them up. Great job. I have a couple of questions. First, I went through and watched all your Q&A today, and the 11th or 12th episode of your question and answers, somebody had talked about a permit while hiking the PCT. I don't know if I misunderstood or if you actually have to have a permit to hike the PCT or do through hikes, and if so, can you elaborate on that a little bit? And the second question I had is about trekking poles. I've never done a through hike. I've never done anything more than a day or two, and on a day hike I just take my backpack. If you're doing a day hike somewhere in like the Blue Ridge or doing like a small section of the AT and it's only going to be a day or 3 days or 5 days, would you take your trekking poles with you? And if so, why? Anything? Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thanks.
So yes, you do have to have a permit to hike the PCT. Whether you're going northbound or southbound, you are required to carry a permit. And not just a permit to hike the PCT, but also something like an open fire permit. The reason that they do that is they really want to limit the amount of people hiking the PCT. They don't want to put as big of an impact on that trail like the AT. Now, over the last handful of years, the ATC has actually been starting a voluntary permit system, and most of us figure they're going to eventually go to a permit system where you have to file for one. Now, most hikers will start filing in February, and it's pretty much first come, first serve. And the whole point of it is to limit how many people are starting on one given day. I believe it's something like 50 to 60. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's about 50 or 60 people that can start on any given day on the PCT. And that way they keep down those huge numbers of hikers impacting the trail at one time. Now, I personally think that is an amazing idea. I just think it really helps keep that impact on the trail down to where it's not overcrowded and the natural resources aren't just getting trampled and destroyed. A lot of that has been happening out on the Appalachian Trail in like the last 10 years, and the ATC is finally starting to buckle down on that and try to limit the impact on the trail. One of the most important things I think that we can do as hikers is help protect our trails so we can hike them in the future. So the permit system is A-okay with me. Now, as far as trekking poles, I use trekking poles for every hike that I do for a lot of reasons. Number one, the tent that I use is a trekking pole tent. Without trekking poles, I couldn't set the damn thing up. So I absolutely need trekking poles. But the other reason is descending a lot of those mountains on the East Coast, on the Appalachian Trail, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, you get some really, really steep descents, and having trekking poles to kind of lessen that weight and lessen that speed as you're coming down and controlling it really helps out your knees. And whenever you're doing something like a through hike and you're constantly going up and down every single day, taking a little bit of load off of your joints is amazing. So even when I do a through hike like here in the Sandia Mountains, I still use my trekking poles. And not only are they good for that, but they're also good to push things out of the way. They're great for creek crossings. So trekking poles are super useful and super valuable to me. Now, to each their own. There are some people that do not like trekking poles and have never hiked with them. I personally don't know how people do it without trekking poles. I absolutely love mine, and I suggest trying them out for sure. Non-hiking related question. Does the ink on your right forearm represent any mountains in particular, or is it just because you love the mountains? So, good question. I think I've covered that in a Q&A before, but if not, Here it is again. This is actually a representation of the Blue Ridge Mountains, starting from the Smokies and going all the way to the Shenandoahs. I absolutely love the Blue Ridge. It is my favorite mountain chain, and I've spent a lot of time in those mountains. Not only on vacations and weekend hikes, but obviously also hiking the AT. I love mountains out here in the West. They're huge, massive 14er mountains, but there's something to be said about the Blue Ridge. This massive collection of mountains as far as the eye can see. And the cool thing is, if you've ever been at the top of the Blue Ridge at night and the sun starts setting down, it gets this nice blue haze, which is where it got its name. So yep, that is the Blue Ridge Mountains. I am in love with those mountains. Snuggles and I hope to return to Virginia in 2019 to spend some more time in these guys. I cannot wait to get back there.
Hey Darwin, TJ from Chicago here. My question for you is, I'm looking for a new lightweight backpack to do some through hiking with. What are your thoughts on the Osprey XO58? Or do you have a different suggestion for an ultralight backpack? Also, my ultimate goal is to hike the Pacific Crest Trail in 2020. I was thinking about doing a long or shorter hike in 2019. My two options are the JMT or the Colorado Trail. What are your thoughts about those? Thank you so much, love the channel, and keep hiking.
Hey TJ, so great questions, man. Number one, pack-wise, there are a lot of great ultralight packs on the market. As far as the Exos goes, that is an awesome backpack. I know a lot of hikers that carried that in 2015. You've seen that pack a lot out on the trail. And from what I understand, Osprey is actually working on a new version of that that's supposed to be even lighter and even more minimalist. So I definitely suggest checking out Osprey. I carried the Osprey Atmos 65 in 2015 and 2016 on the AT, which wasn't necessarily their lightweight pack, but I absolutely loved it and can't say enough good things about Osprey packs. Now what I'm currently hiking with is the Z-Packs Arc Blast backpack, which I just did a gear review on that on Sunday, and I love that pack. Now obviously it's a lot more expensive, but it is ultra lightweight, and I highly suggest checking those out. But there's a lot of really great pack companies out there on the market that make good lightweight packs. Another great company to check out packs from that are ultra light and don't break the bank are ULA. They make some really, really great stuff, and I almost bought a ULA pack last year before deciding on the Z-Packs pack. So definitely check those out. I'll leave some links in the description box below to all those packs and all those companies that I just suggested. Definitely go check them out, but you can't go wrong with the Exos, man. That is a really awesome pack. Now, as far as what trail should you hike next year, if it was up to me, I would probably hike the Colorado Trail. Number one, you're gonna be hiking the JMT during your PCT Thru hike anyways, so save it for the PCT and go hike the Colorado Trail. And from what I understand, getting just a JMT permit is really hard. So it'd be much easier for you to go out and do the Colorado Trail. Plus, I hear that's an amazing trail. It's definitely on my list within the next few years to thru hike, so check it out. And good luck on planning for your PCT Thru hike, man. What do you use to keep your cameras and other gear like that charged up? So James, I use a little bitty external battery pack. In 2015 and 2016 on the AT, I used what's called a power ad. It's just a little bitty lipstick power charger. I actually did a whole video on power on the AT. I'll put a link up here somewhere if you want to check that out. And if you don't need to charge a whole lot, I definitely suggest picking up one of those little power ads. They're super cheap, they don't weigh much, they don't take up a lot of space in your pack, and they're great for charging your gear. But lately, because I have upgraded my trail camera equipment, I've needed to upgrade my power source. So right now I'm actually testing out a brand new power pack. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is just yet, but keep an eye out for that because I am going to be doing a full gear review on the new battery bank that I am carrying. And so far I've really been digging it. It's really been great and optimal for all the charging that I need. Lightweight, and it works great. So again, I'm not going to spoil that yet. Keep an eye out for that review, but in the meantime, go check out that video I did on power on the trail. I think it's all right. All right guys, so last question of the week comes from Daniel, and Daniel asks, do you stuff or roll your tent while on the trail? What about for long-term storage? I've heard that stuffing is better for the tent body, and I'm concerned that the clips and buckles might cause damage to the mesh. So good question. I, sir, am a stuff guy. I always stuff my gear, whether it's my tent, my clothes, my sleeping bag, any of that. And the reason is when you fold your gear, you actually make little seams in the gear, especially your tent fly that has usually been treated with some sort of waterproofing or seam sealing. So folding that is causing little cracks and little seams to eventually break down. So I always stuff my gear. Now, I used to fold my gear, but after watching different videos and reviews and hearing other people's comments, I started stuffing it. The other great thing about stuffing your gear is obviously it helps you break down camp faster. You can just grab the bag, cram it all in there, throw it in your pack, and take off to where you don't have to make these nice, neat little folds. Now, it's obviously all up to you, and definitely do your own research on that, but yeah, man, I am a stuffer. I always stuff my gear. All right, guys, so if you have a question for next week's Q&A, you can either leave it in the comment box below or send me a video question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and then next week I'll answer as many of them as I possibly can. If you haven't got a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures from some past hikes, so go check those out. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, guys, thanks for watching.